Have you ever noticed how sometimes it feels like your life is in an endless cycle of ups and downs? The feeling that things are not progressing, as if you are stuck in a stagnant phase, can be desperate. But what if I told you that this struggle is part of something bigger? Many people believe that restoration is a one-time event, a magical moment where everything just works itself out. However, the truth can be quite different. Restoration is a process, and God is constantly working to transform lives, even when you can't see it. Imagine the impact of understanding that healing, growth, and true fulfillment are happening little by little in every area of your life. How would that change the way you live? If you're looking for quick answers, this is your opportunity to look beyond the immediate. Let's talk about how every small step counts, and how faith can be the key to ongoing and profound transformation. Imagine a garden that was once full of life, vibrant flowers, and enchanting aromas. Now, all that's left is a barren landscape, colorless, lifeless. This garden is a powerful metaphor for the times in life when we feel desolate and hopeless. Times of loss, stagnation, and disappointment make many feel like all is lost. But that's where faith comes in. Trusting in God reminds us that He is like a master gardener, capable of transforming any desert into an oasis of beauty. Even when everything seems to be falling apart, there is always hope for restoration. When a plant withers, the gardener doesn't give up on it, and in the same way, God doesn't give up on us. He knows the wasted years, the silent struggles we face. It's common to feel like we've wasted time, but the divine gardener sees beyond that. He knows how to restore even the most barren years of our lives. Restoration often doesn't come in the way we expect, but it does come, bringing back the life we thought was lost. The key is to trust that this restoration is possible, even when we can't see the change at the moment. For this transformation to occur, patience and faith are essential. Imagine the gardener preparing the soil, working on the roots, even when nothing seems to be growing on the surface. In the same way, in our lives, God is always at work, even in times of stagnation. These times, which seem like times of loss, are actually times of preparation. They shape us, teaching us valuable lessons about patience and endurance. And as He tends to our roots, we can be sure that in due time, we will blossom again with renewed wisdom and restored hope. In the years that pass without us noticing, we often feel as if we are going around in circles, without a clear direction. Dreams are postponed, and life seems stagnant, as if time is slipping through our fingers. These wasted years are a common reality, something we all face at some point. However, God's promise is clear. God has the power to redeem even the time we believe we have lost. What to us seems like a cycle of frustration, to Him is an opportunity to wisely restore everything that seemed distant. Divine wisdom teaches us that nothing is truly lost when we trust in His guidance. The time we spend in silence, waiting for something greater, may be precisely the period in which He is preparing a great future. Many may wonder how this is possible, especially when circumstances seem contrary, but it is in these intervals that God acts in unexpected ways. He promises that each year, each tear and each moment of discouragement will be restored with an even greater intensity than before. Restoring wasted years doesn't happen overnight, but begins when we put our faith in God. It may seem hard to accept that lost time can be recovered, but when we remember stories of people who faced great trials, like Joseph, who spent years in prison before becoming governor of Egypt, we see how God works in His own times. Even when life seems at a standstill, He is preparing something greater. What can we do? Keep walking in faith, trust in the process, and never lose hope that transformation is on the way. In the most difficult seasons of life, when everything seems out of control, there is a profound lesson unfolding. It is in these challenging moments that God is silently shaping character and preparing us for something greater. Each season lasts as long as it needs to teach patience and endurance, virtues that can only be learned through practice. While it is natural to question the purpose of hardship, it is in these phases that true wisdom is revealed, showing that suffering is never in vain. Imagine a seed buried in the ground, seemingly lifeless, waiting for the right moment to germinate. This is a reflection of God's work during difficult seasons. Although the seed is in the darkness, it is preparing to burst forth and blossom. In the same way, the experiences we face, whether personal or professional, prepare us for the future harvest. Even if the world around us does not see the process, God is cultivating patience and faith within each of us. These times are also opportunities to strengthen our trust in God. When human vision is limited, we must trust that He sees beyond. Divine wisdom teaches us to persevere, knowing that difficult times have a greater purpose. A practical action here is to look at challenging moments and ask, what am I learning from this? This is how God guides us, not by removing obstacles from our path, but by teaching us to face them with courage and faith, knowing that the harvest season will come. Walking by faith and not by sight is a concept that, at first glance, may seem challenging. However, it is precisely when everything around us seems uncertain that this practice becomes more crucial. Faith guides us when we cannot see the path ahead, and it is in these moments that trust in God is strengthened. After all, He has a much broader vision of our lives and the circumstances we face. When all seems lost, it is faith that moves us. It is faith that makes us keep walking even without seeing the final destination. Imagine being on a road covered in fog, where all you can see is the next step. This is the portrait of living by faith. With each step taken, no matter how uncertain it may be, we trust that God is ahead, preparing the way. This is not blind trust, but a certainty that even if the circumstances seem confusing, He has a perfect plan in action. In these moments, practicing faith means not giving up, but keeping walking, even when the scenario does not make sense. To apply this in real life, a good practice is to create small moments of daily reflection. Instead of focusing on what cannot be seen or understood, focus on God's promises and wisdom. Read inspiring stories of people who, in the midst of adversity, trusted in something greater. A good example is the book of Hebrews, chapter 11, which tells the stories of faith of great men and women. As you do this, you will gain a stronger understanding that restoration is already happening. God's restoration is not a one-off moment, but rather an ongoing process, like the careful gardening of a caring gardener. We often expect change to happen instantly, but the truth is that God works constantly and in detail, bringing healing and renewal to various areas of our lives. Just as a garden needs time to blossom again, our lives also go through cycles of growth and transformation. This process involves patience, trust, and faith in God's care. Relationships that have been broken, dreams that seem distant, and even emotional wounds are targets of this restoration process. At every step, God is there, taking care of every detail, pruning what needs to be removed and nurturing what needs to grow. The important thing is to realize that even when we don't see immediate results, He is working behind the scenes. Restoration goes beyond simply fixing something that is broken. It is a true rebirth, a process that encompasses body, mind, and spirit. It is essential that, during this time, people remain open to change and growth. One practical way to engage in this ongoing process is to spend time in prayer, seeking wisdom to understand the steps that are being taken. In addition, maintaining healthy relationships and seeking reconciliation with those with whom we have had conflicts is part of the spiritual growth. Restoration happens not just in isolated events, but with each small gesture of faith and trust in God. Now that you understand that restoration is an ongoing process, the real question is, what are you going to do with this knowledge? How can you start applying these principles to your life today? Have you ever stopped to think that by trusting the process, by walking by faith and not by sight, your life can take a completely different direction? Sometimes, all we need to do is take the first step and keep going, even without seeing the whole path. Are you ready to embrace the restoration that God has prepared for you? So, how about sharing in the comments what touched you most in this process? How do you intend to apply this learning? And if you want to continue learning more about this and other subjects, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Here, there will always be a new step for you to take towards your transformation.